Another Brick fan here with my review of LEGO BrickHeadz Mr. and Mrs. Claus. This is a seasonal set and comes as a 2-pack. Let's visit the Claus family on this Christmas Day. This is LEGO set 40274 and was released in October 2018. Has 341 pieces and cost about $20 when released. These BrickHeads are part of the seasonal series and have a custom printed 2x4 tile on the stand. I have included a closer view of this printed tile in the upper right hand corner of the video. They also include additional builds on either side of the figure like all seasonal BrickHeads. Let's start off with Mr. Claus. I have removed the scenery so that we can focus on the BrickHead for now. My first impression is good, although I would have liked to have seen a print on the 1x2 gold tile used for his belt buckle. But to be fair, most of the seasonal sets that I've built don't include printed pieces other than the eyes and the seasonal tile on the bottom. So my desire for a printed belt buckle is probably just a little nitpick since the rest of the figure looks quite good. The beard is a very nice build and is appropriate for the figure as it is one of Santa's distinguishing features. I also like how they built the hat with it flopping over to one side. Moving to the side of the figure, you can see some additional detailing for his hair, some exposed studs as well as cheese wedge and other plate with bow pieces in order to give the hair a little bit of character. The other nice detail you can see is the plate with bow pieces that are used to make the white fur around the base of his cap. This goes all the way around the figure and looks very good. The back of the figure is pretty plain with just a little bit of detailing on the hair and then solid brick back. On this side you can see the included toy bag, which has been used with various Santa minifigures for many years. If you've watched my other BrickHead reviews, you may remember that I think many of the minifig accessories are out of proportion for BrickHeads. Sadly, this is indeed the case here. It would have been nice to see a much larger toy bag, perhaps even as part of the side build. The other thing you can see from this side is how the hat slopes out past the edge of the head of the figure and has a white plate on the bottom to represent the top of his cap. As we move back to the front, I've reattached the side builds so you can get a look at them. Although they don't contain the big toy bag that I wanted, they are pretty nice and appropriate for the figure. The tree build on his right side is very nice and easy to build. Instead of the 1x1 round plate, it might have been nice to include a red or yellow round plate to represent a light or a tree topper. On his other side, there are 3 very nice present builds. I think these micro-scale present builds are always done really well by LEGO. They use a silver bow and a gold bow, and then those 2 cheese wedge pieces make up a perfect red bow on the larger present. Let's bring in Mrs. Claus and take a look at her build. For Mrs. Claus, we'll start again without the side builds, and we'll just focus on the BrickHead as we move around the figure. Mrs. Claus comes with a tray of treats made up of cookies and muffins. As you can see, these are the pieces that are commonly used for this kind of food items, but they look really good on the little tray that she has, and I like how they use the front-facing clip for her hand in order to hold those cookies in the right position. Another thing that's really nice on Mrs. Claus here is the apron build. The apron is built using 1x2 modified plates with rails that kind of form an edge for the apron, and then below that they have the flower pieces printed in white that are built using a studs on the side construction. I think it looks really great and it's a really nice detail. I also really like the choice of the light gray for her hair. The build in the front is very nice, and I like how they used a lot of different types of pieces to create some interesting angles and add some character to the front of this figure. Moving to the side, you can get a good look at her bonnet. Like Mr. Claus, it has a white fur bottom and a red top. There is also a 1x1 rounded green plate on top as a decoration. She does seem to have some wide shoulders in her dress, as there is a 1x2 wedge piece on her arm that sticks out a ways. I also like how they did the bottom of her dress with a white fur that is represented by the 1x4 plate with bow pieces. This reminds me a lot of the build for the Bell BrickHead, which was done in Series 1. It uses the same build of a dress all the way down to the bottom and then the 1x4 plate with bows. In Bell's case, there was actually some printing to indicate some decoration or lacing around the bottom. Although the back looks kind of plain, I think there is some really nice detailing here if you look closely. There are white plates that go all the way around the figure, which represents the strings of the apron. By centering two cheese wedge pieces facing each other in the back, it makes it look like the apron is tied behind her back. A very clever effect and very nicely done in my opinion. Since she's wearing a bonnet, you don't see a lot of detailing for hair or anything in the back, and it's just a nice smooth build. The other side of the figure is almost identical to the side we looked at, with the exception of the hand, which just has a clip on the bottom instead of facing forward like it does on the other side. As we move back to the front, I've once again added the side builds. To her right, Mrs. Claus has a table with a cup of hot cocoa, or perhaps an espresso so she can stay up late waiting for Santa to finish his rounds. On the other side, there's a candy cane build and some foliage atop a pearl gold profile brick that has some grooves in it for texture. Overall, a pretty nice effect. I think they did a good job capturing both Mr. and Mrs. Claus in BrickHead form. The side builds are appropriate, although, like I said, I would have appreciated a large toy bag instead of just a pile of toys to the side, but I really like those micro present builds. I think LEGO nails it with those every single time. It doesn't hurt that LEGO bricks are perfect for creating square shapes. I'll be displaying these at Christmas time every year. Let me know in the comments if you display seasonal BrickHeads during the different seasons, or if you just like to have BrickHeads out on display. I hope that you've enjoyed my thoughts on these BrickHeads, and I look forward to reading your comments. Happy building, and a very Merry Christmas. I've included a link to my complete BrickHeads review playlist. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button to see more. You can also click the bell to be alerted when a new video is posted.